Hello and welcome to The Big Leap presented by CleverTap, where we shine a light on the pioneers, the marketers, the companies, the growth leaders achieving growth through retention. And our guests, well, they share the steps, the strategies, the stories that took them from good to great. And today, my guest is the driving force behind a community platform that brings together gaming and esports enthusiasts to help them be the best they can be. And the streaming platform also enables live action sports, live action content creators. It is what you would expect from a marketing veteran who has held positions at well-known media and entertainment companies, including Dish TV. And he was bitten by the entrepreneurial bug, as he calls it, in 2016 and launched Rooter, which ranks number one on Google Play. It counts 16.2 million and growing monthly active users. 1.2 million creators create content on the platform every month. It's also racked up 32 million in funding. It is a story that we want to hear about because there are so many successes in this story. And here to talk about the epic journey is my guest, Piyush Kumar, founder, CEO of Rooter. Welcome to The Big Leap.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you so much for the introduction, and I'm very, very excited to speak with you.
I mean, when you think about it, Piyush, when you line them up and you're like, oh, 32 million in funding, this many users, this many creators. I mean, what does that make you feel when you think about it in that sense?
Well, I'll be very honest. I think from where we stand today at Router, when I speak on behalf of all my 105 other colleagues. We believe that we are in a market which is very, very big. I mean, the Indian gaming market has what, some 500 million gamers spread across the country, and they are only growing with each month. And with a better smartphone penetration, with 5G technology coming in, this is gonna become very, very big. So all these numbers, to be honest, at this stage, looks like we are just getting started. We have a lot to do. We have to figure out a way to reach out to all those users. Like we are at what, 16, 17 million monthly active users, but there are more than 50 million downloads for Router just on Google Play Store, right? It's a pretty decent number. If you would have asked us three years back when we'll get there, I wouldn't know. But today we believe that now 100 million is possible because such is the growth and such is the path that we have taken. So very exciting, very, very exciting. The idea is to really make it something worthwhile and something very, very important for the community.
I can feel the enthusiasm. And you're obviously a builder in, well, even more than one sense of the word, because you're building the country's leading game and esports streaming platform, which is fantastic. You're also building Lego sets that you collect from your travels around your world with your 7-year-old son. So it speaks volumes about the level of commitment and balance over the years. How do you keep that balance in your family as well as your business?
Well, it's a very interesting point. Honestly, nobody has spoken about with me in my multiple interactions. Thank you so much for bringing it. The way I see it is that as an entrepreneur, I'm completely committed to Router. I'm committed to all the users, all creators, all my team members, most importantly, shareholders and investors who have come in. And therefore, when I work for 5 days a week, and I work only 5 days a week, I fully dedicate myself to Router, and I do everything possible to ensure that nothing stops at my desk, or I'm able to contribute in every possible way for the team. But I do believe that for me to effectively work on those 5 days, I need a very balanced approach from a family perspective. So my family, my son, my wife, my parents, all of them have always been extremely supportive of taking this plunge, taking this um, career path to become an entrepreneur and to do what I'm doing. And therefore my duty at the end of the day is to give back to them. And while many things can be materialistic, the most important thing that I can give to anybody is time. I work 5 days a week. I socialize with my friends, or people at my age group, on Friday night. Saturdays and Sundays, I don't meet any of my friends. The only people I spend time with on Saturdays and Sundays is my son and my wife. And it's been going on for 4 years now, 3.5 years actually, started with COVID. And that has allowed me to stay more focused on the work. The fact that I'm not, partying 3 days a week or something like that. So it's the balance. And it's because you need to understand that everybody deserves your time, and you need to give it with due course.
That's a beautiful story, actually, and a great rule to follow because it's so simple. It's always the simple rules that make the most sense and that stick. So you stick to that. You have your principles, you have your ambitions, and certainly Rooter has made the grade as a result. 7 years old, the growth in scale I've read in different media exceeded more than 6x in 2022 compared to the previous year. What would you tell your earlier self if you knew what you do now?
Life and any process that you take is actually a very long journey, so if you get into something to get very quick rewards and to get compensated very quickly, it never works. I mean, you can get lucky once or twice, or maybe never, but one thing that always pays off is giving time to things. So if you look at my career also, I spent the first 7 years in advertising, then I spent the next 7 years in marketing, and now 7 years at Router. So 21 years equally divided between seven. And 7 years is a great time because in couple of years you try to you kind of figure out how things work. Then the next 3 4 years you fix things, you start to grow, and then by the time you hit sixth or seventh year, you start to grow. Exactly what happened in Router, exactly what happened in my marketing career. The way I see things is that what I would tell myself is always the fact that you need to give time to things. Things don't happen overnight, and anything that is built with patience, with a certain foresight, more or less gives you a better chance to success than to do something in haste and not ready to commit yourself for a long period of time. That's the life lesson I have actually followed everywhere.
And it makes such sense because you need to harvest. There needs to be time there. Things don't happen overnight. And you've changed. You've had to pivot to get where you are now as well. How would you describe your company now? What is it? Because it has gone through some incredible changes, all for the better, to your credit, but they're pivots and they're hard at first and they're risky as well.
Yeah, so very simply, so I'll tell you, in a very interesting manner. So Router means a fan, better use for a sports fan, right? When we started Router, our vision was to create a tech platform that will bring similar people together. Okay, and the first set of people, or the only set of people we wanted to work for, was sports fans. So we wanted a platform where sports fans following a certain team, a certain player, or a certain sport can discover each other, meet, watch matches, discuss matches, so on and so forth. So that is how Router started. But within first 3.5 years, we realized that this is not going to be a large business, because what we were trying to do was not resulting in uh, some very good results, right? But in the process, we built an extremely good technology, particularly streaming technology, which is our own streaming technology. We created a lot of learnings on how to build a content platform, and the biggest of them, we created an amazing team which was committed to Router for the first 3.5 years. And when we realized gaming is a great opportunity, India was becoming a gaming nation, we pivoted with all those learnings, technologies, team, and investors together. So everybody backed us. I almost call it like a journey which was kind of written. I had to follow it, I had to take the right decisions, make everyone else believe that this is the right thing to do. And yeah, I mean, we are still on the course, but I think we are doing well, and we have an extremely good chance of making it an extremely successful and large company. Now to answer your first question, what we are basically India's largest game streaming and esports content platform. What it means is that if you are a gamer, we will have the kind of content that you would enjoy watching. So when you are not playing a game, you can come to Router and you will find different kind of content formats that will engage you, that will give you the same happiness that you get as a gamer, the same adrenaline rush that you get as a gamer. And every month, every quarter, every year, we'll keep on innovating content formats, technology, experience to ensure that Router is your closest experience to gaming when you are not actually playing a game.
And you have an ecosystem, really, starting with the creators, whom you have called, you're quoted as saying, they are your biggest asset. How are you unlocking that talent to create mutual benefit? Because at the end of the day, it's about encouraging them to create, but it's also not about just creating for the sake of creation. There's got to be a model that has mutual benefit. What's yours?
So for us, see, the first thesis for Router when we pivoted to gaming was that we realized that if India has to become a large gaming content market, we need to create anything between 4 to 5, going up to 7 million creators. So if you look at Twitch on a monthly basis has 7 to 8 million creators. Okay, our vision is to get to 3 to 5 million monthly creators in the next 2 to 3 years, right? So when we talk about, say, Router having 100 million monthly active users, maybe next 2 or 3 years, to make content for those 100 million viewers, you would need about 5 million creators. Approximately 3 to 5% of people who are on the platform should create content. Now, for us, what we realized the biggest gap in the market was nobody was giving them the best tools to become a creator. Nobody was playing the role that Instagram played in our lives, when it basically told us that when you go out, click a picture of your holiday and share it with people. That picture will give them happiness, that picture will inspire them to also travel. And that is something that happened with music, fashion, multiple other things, right? We realized that in gaming nobody was doing that. A handful of 100 200 people were driving the content, or rather creating the content, and everybody else was watching. So we have the best streaming tools, the best content creation tools in our market, and possibly in, if you look at the global market. And the idea is that when somebody aspires to be a gaming creator, he or she should think of Router, come here, start creating content, and we will not just give them the best technology, but also give them maximum viewers, will help them monetize their content. We will make them stars. Like, I'll give you an example. A 45-year-old homemaker from a state in India, Jammu, which is a state in north of India, she learned gaming with her 15 or 17-year-old son, and then she became a creator, a streamer on Router 2 years back, right? Within 2 years, she became one of our top 5 to 10 creators. She has more than 350,000 followers on Router. She makes a very decent amount of money as a creator, but biggest of them all, she enjoys doing this, right? And that story is now very well talked about, and she's just one of the examples of how many people have become creators, are looking at this as a career because they decided to download Router, use our tool, trust us, and build their career over here. So the process of enablement which Router provides is something that we are very, very excited about, and we want to continue doing it for as long as we can.
I almost want you to go global now, Piyush.
Let's see. Let's see. That's
Let's
the
see.
idea. That's the
It
idea.
would be, I would do it. Well, not for gaming, maybe for this type of content. But another thing I've read about what you're doing that is not done very often, and you're doing it really well when you give the example you just did, is you're also helping influencers, creators, not just become influencers, but create a strong persona. Tell me about that.
So see, Eddie, what I realized about the difference between gaming content and any other content is that when you watch a gaming content, you also watch the creator playing it right then and there, right? So when you look at a stream, there is a small box on either of the sides where the creator is playing. That creator actually invests a lot on giving that right feel of the playing the game. So you would see that there'll be a background, there'll be a light, he or she will use the right equipments, and they have the best expressions, they will talk in the nice manner to bring the excitement and stuff like that. So we believe that how gaming creators are different from any other creator, and it doesn't happen when you are necessarily on an Instagram, or if you're on a TikTok, or if you're somewhere else. But always when you look at a game streaming content, you will always see the creator over there. And that creator creates content for a very long period of time. So Instagram is maybe a picture or a small video or a reel, which is 60 seconds. Twitter is basically a set of words. But a game stream can actually go on for 2 hours. Now imagine the kind of effort all these creators do to stay relevant, to have the same energy, to be able to perform. It's like doing a play every day of your life on a stage with millions or hundreds of people watching you on that stage. Now, for that, everything is dependent on who you are, how you're bringing your personality, how you are engaging the audience, what you should do to look nice, to be able to, kind of ensure that when people look at you, they aspire to be like you, and so on and so forth. So we realize that a lot of things technology will do. We'll give the best tools and we'll give the best audience and we'll personalize the content and so on and so forth. But in this case, it requires a human effort. So from day one, we had a 35 member team, or almost a 40 member team now. Each of our team member actually works with a set of creators, and day in day out they give them feedback on their streams, they give them ideas on how to go about things. So it's like having your personal manager to go back to learn how to get better and to do this. So that human intervention is extremely important, and it's led by a guy called Akshay Kothari, who's been with us for nearly 7 years now. He's been with us since the time Router got founded, and he's done an excellent job. I mean, imagine doing it over 6.5 years with multiple set of creators and building a team like this. So that is where the real difference is between a gaming creator and any other creator.
Beautiful model, by the way, because if you're trying to create a flywheel of growth, that's what you do. You enable and you empower because it all works together. And another player in all of this is the brand, probably because you have such a great track record in advertising and marketing as well, because you have seen a very sharp rise in the number of brands interested in partnering with you across a number of categories. Can you tell me about where you are right now, some of the interesting brand partnerships you've closed or hoping to share?
Yeah, so we have been extremely focused on monetization. So one big difference between Router and any other player in this market is the fact that we look at monetization extremely seriously, extremely early, and we believe that is the only way to grow and scale the business. You cannot keep doing it on investors' money or equity money. You need to do it with the money that you make, and the decision of growth has to also be based on how much money you are making or what revenue you're doing. So for us, there are multiple ways. First and foremost, we have an excellent team. It's led by a guy called Ayush. Excellent experience. He's built a great team over a period of time. We also have now a lot of people who have worked with different brands over a period of time. So they understand both sides of the marketer's mind, a brand manager's mind, or the mind of a user or a creator. And then, of course, for me as an individual, I come from advertising, where I learned and I went there because I just love the way ads used to affect people's life and so on and so forth. Then I became a marketer because I wanted to execute it. So I kind of did it. And now in my third role in the life, I'm actually ended up creating a platform with my co-founder Dipesh, which actually is going to give an opportunity for brands to reach out to gamers, right? So it's a complete circle, right? Today, when I go back and meet brands as a part of my role, I feel so happy. I tell them that it's like my life circle is complete. Where now I was an advertiser, then I became a brand manager, and then I kind of have a platform which I'm selling to both of you. So there is an agency, there is a brand, and now I'm the publisher, right? So it's an excellent relationship. I think, see, the key here is that the biggest difference that monetization journey can be made on is how you understand the brand's brief, how you understand what agency is trying to do for the brands, and convert that into a reality. And I think that is something which our team has done quite well. And then, from a platform perspective, we offer a very unique set of users, which is these people between the age group of 10 going up to 25 to 30 years. Very few platforms in India can offer that audience to the brands to reach out for their respective use cases. So that is one big difference that has helped. And the fact that we give multiple solutions in terms of advertising, performance marketing, content IP, influencer marketing, esports, like multiple ways in which a brand can actually interact with the user. And if you talk about different cases, there are multiple brands. So you're right. We have worked with pretty much 10 or 12 categories, all large brands. But if I was to name a few, extremely lucky to have worked on Mountain Dew campaign. They did a very large campaign with us where a lot of creators created uh, content around the Mountain Dew clutch moments, and it was used across media on Router and their social channel, etc. And now we are doing a lot of work with them. Extremely lucky to work with Jio Cinema, which is basically the OTT provider for the current Indian cricket league called IPL in India, which is the biggest one. Airtel, McDonald's, Setwet, which is one of the hairstyling. Like, we have actually a lot of gaming brands that we work with, a lot of technology brands, Intel, etc., that we work with. So the idea here is that we provide them solutions which are tailor made. And we believe that it is not just about getting the business, but also servicing the business. So, because I come from client servicing and advertising, Ayush also has that experience. We have actually created a client servicing team within our company, whose job is to work with clients after the business has come in. So the idea is that we handhold them even after we have already closed the business, and the idea is to just make the relationship very, very deep.
Now I understand why the local press there, they've said that you're really adding monetization and business models faster than they can count them, right? There's advertising, performance, sponsorship, user monetization, all of these ways that you're making money. But of course, building, and you are a builder from the start. We said at the very start, in building, whether it's building your company, building Lego, you're a builder, but build and they will come. Well, that doesn't happen. You need to reach and engage audiences. How are you approaching that? What's innovative there? Because you have your own IP for streaming, you must have something really interesting to address, segment, and engage audiences.
See, from our end, if you remember at the beginning of the conversation, I said that we are extremely lucky to be in a segment which has a very large addressable market. 500 million gamers is crazy, right? So the demand side of our market is very, very up for it. And there is no dearth of how many users we can pull to our platform and can actually make them active users and monetize them. The biggest difference here is that as an organization, uh, how frugal or how are we very intelligent about it, which means, the biggest factor of this, something that I learned in my earlier years with Router, is that the biggest factor of growth is your customer acquisition cost. That cost cannot be, sorry to use the word, absurd, right? That cost cannot be any cost. It has to be a cost that makes sense for business to be viable, right? So you acquire a customer at X dollar, you that customer stays for Y number of months, and then you make Z dollars at the end of it, is the only way customer acquisition can work. If this balance is not there, the business is not going to survive. So our biggest attempt is that, and this is where I give credit to my co-founder Dipesh, that we have always had our growth internally. We have never outsourced our growth or our performance campaigns, which means we have always been extremely careful about our customer acquisition cost. We have always maintained it at the minimum level while getting good quality users. So it's everybody gets surprised to know that our customer acquisition cost is actually 10 cents of a dollar. It's just 10 cents for as many as 2.5 to 3 million downloads a month. We grow 10 or 12x faster than our competition in the market, in spite of the fact that we are extremely careful about our customer acquisition cost. The second thing is, we believe a product is only a good product if a large number of new users joining your platform are coming organically. So more than 55% of users who download Router every month come organically, either through a word of mouth or invited by a user or invited by a creator. So a combination of all of this put together makes our growth story extremely sustainable, extremely business oriented, and something that is completely internal. We are extremely lucky to have the right colleagues who are working on in this particular direction.
Acquiring valuable users. And of course, the value is also in keeping them coming back, keeping them excited, keeping them engaged. What are you doing there?
As you know, most of the tech companies, the most important metric is retention. I don't think there's any more important metric than retention. The North Star metric of most of the platforms like ours will be retention. So for us, the way our product team works is they look at different retention numbers starting from day 1 to D7 to day 15, month 1 going up to month 6 and month 12. And every feature or everything that we do, new launch feature or every new content that gets onboarded is onboarded keeping that number in mind. So our idea is always that that number should keep on improving. As your retention improves, the lifetime value of a user improves. You are able to kind of make money much faster out of the user. But most importantly, for executing that, the key thing is having the right product, is having the right personalization. So we are the only product in the market that is personalizing content for the user, which means every user, depending on which game you follow, which language you speak, which creator you follow, what is your search history, we will customize your homepage just the way Facebook or Instagram or everybody else does. And if the content served on your homepage is like what you actually want, then you will stay longer, right? That is when a user kind of starts to understand that this platform knows me, and therefore you build stickability. So it's a combination of having an extremely good tech, extremely good product behind it, extremely good as an extremely good product built on top of it, extremely engaging content, and most importantly understanding user every day to make the product better for them. And that's the basic philosophy of how we work as a company.
Audiences are also not static. So, in addition to understanding the technology, I'd also like to understand how you continually deliver a valuable and personal experience, because there it has to be not just technology, but learning technology, technology able to adapt.
So, see, for us, one of the things that we have always tried to do is to uh, keep understanding what the new user wants. So I'll give you an example that will make you understand how we think. When we got the first 20-25 million downloads for Router, we realized those gamers love to watch game streams, live streams. So we invested a lot on live streams. Then as we started getting the next 10-15 million downloads, we realized that the new set of users are not ready to commit a long amount of or a long number of hours or a large amount of time to consume live stream content. So for them, we needed to build something that can help them consume content on the go. So we launched videos, gaming videos, just the way YouTube videos are. And we saw very interesting results over there. But then we realized, what is it that people are doing outside of Router? They are consuming reels. They are consuming short form video content. What are we necessarily doing on Instagram? We all of us have moved to reels. That gives us that same, same feeling of the kind of content we always wanted. So on Router, we introduced gaming reels. We were the first player in the market to introduce gaming reels. It has done so well for us that one every user was consuming 3 reels per day per kind of a metric at almost 12 months back. Now a user is consuming 19 reels per user per day, and they're giving 7 minutes to only reels. Now that particular content format has allowed us to reach out to the 50 to 60 million audience who have downloaded Router over the last 3 to 4 years. So the point I'm making is that you cannot have the same product and imagine that everybody will adapt to you. You have to understand what your user wants and keep on optimizing your product so that you find that right user product fit, and that is where things goes. And everybody in Router thinks product first, and monetization first. So the combination of that is what really helps us.
You're addressing a mobile first audience, and you want to have a consistent experience across all of the channels. As you said yourself, you're adapting to them, you're following their lead. What helps you listen and respond in a way that's going to be valuable to them, but ultimately, hey, it's going to help Rooter as well?
As I said, the most important way to build a product or to build a better user experience is also relying on data and not relying on human mind and just your gut feel, right? So for a product startup or for a consumer tech startup to succeed, you need to let data speak for everything that you do, right? And that data helps you understand your user, and then you are able to deliver the right product. So for us, we collect a number of data points, and we have partnered CleverTap since June of 2017, if I'm not wrong. We were a very, very small company. I'm not kidding. We were a very small company. And at that point in time, I never thought we'll be able to convince CleverTap to give us opportunity to work with them because of the fact that early stage startup, less seed money, etc., etc. But they were very supportive. They have supported us through the first 2 3 years of struggle. And today, between CleverTap and Router, we process a large amount of data. That data helps us analyze user behavior, analyze content consumption behavior, and therefore serve the right content to the user to basically execute what we call personalization of content. Now, personalization of content will not happen if you don't have the right data mining, which is happening in the background. So that's where they have been extremely helpful. I think one of our most important partners, in addition to AWS. And yeah, I think as we grow, I mean, if you imagine Router having 100 million monthly active users, the number of billions hours of or number of billions of data point that will get stored will be quite good. So we look forward to uh, being, I mean, working with them on a very, very important journey ahead.
I'm also wondering, Piyush, because of the type of person you are, often I've done interviews like this, and it's when companies are so closely aligned that they tend to influence each other and they tend to experiment and tinker and do some really cool things with the platform, with the technology, really just sort of stretch and push the boundaries. Have you done something like that? Some sort of innovation that may have surprised you, maybe even CleverTap?
Yes. So, one of the key things for any content platform or any community platform is the notification, right? Notification drives engagement, very simply put. And on the notification part, we work very closely with CleverTap. I think the kind of services they offer in terms of sending the right notification, getting the right data behind that notification, and therefore improvising it for the next one that goes really helps us. So I think that is one particular project I'll do a call out for, saying that their services there is excellent, and we are continuously working together to use that service to bring user back to our app as many times as possible during a day, week, or a month. And that plays a very important role in building a better lifetime of a user, eventually about building a better company. So that is one particular feature, or one particular project I like to call out right now.
So I'm going to switch to a couple of rapid fire questions to wrap us up. What is the most brutal advice you've had to give or take as a marketing leader?
Brand is an emotion, and as long as you have that emotion in place, the brand will sell the product it is selling. If there is no emotion, then it's not a long term relationship.
What about the customer experience? Who owns it?
So, from a customer experience perspective, it is owned by different parts of the team, but we have basically centered it around the product team. They are one set of individuals who are working closely with the tech team, the technology team. They are working closely with the revenue team. They are working closely with the community team. So, what happens is they are the one who dig deep onto the data. They are the one who actually work very closely with CleverTap, and basis the data, they are able to suggest what is the right product that is required for better customer engagement. So that responsibility of customer engagement actually lies with this team, who are doing an excellent job. And the proof of that is how well we are rated on Google Play Store, how many good reviews we get, how people are sticking longer to the platform, have a better retention. All of that is because they are the set of individual who are focused on customers. So that is on the user engagement or the user focus as a customer. But the other most important part of our business is brands, who are our customers as well, who are relying and spending thousands of dollars on Router every month to reach out to their users. For that, there is a separate team, which is the client servicing team within the sales team. And they, with Ayush and everybody else, actually work very closely with brands to understand the brand's expectation as a customer and deliver on them. So these are the two separate teams within Router, who look at two separate set of customers. One is user and the other one is this.
So staying with marketing, when I hear you, marketing engagement, outstanding campaigns with brands. It's a task that in many ways has grown beyond the ability of human marketers to deliver. At least that's what we're talking about, because we're talking so much about AI, machine learning. Where does AI, automation, machine learning, where does that do the best job and help marketers most, do you think?
The way we see this, I mean, if you just break it down to a very simple trend, what it means is get as many data points as possible, apply a bit of intelligence behind it to serve a better product to the user. That's what it does. So in our case, both in terms of a better user experience or in terms of a better brand experience, machine learning plays a very important role, because through that, through all those algorithms, we are able to process data to understand what is the right content to be served to user, or what is the right user to be served to the brand campaign, right? So this is where we balance it out between a user experience and a brand experience.
And finally, Piyush, just to wrap it up, we started out talking that we were going to be discussing growth through retention on the Big Leap. What is your golden rule for growth through retention?
The rule is extremely simple: build a scalable business on a low CAC model, a low customer acquisition cost model. Ensure very good early retention outlook. Go for numbers which come early when a user onboards, whether it is D0 or D1, D7. Within the first 7 8 days, you figure out how your product is doing. And most importantly, focus on long term retention, which means at the end of the day, how many of your users are becoming a lifetime user, are staying with you forever, and are able to build an extremely good experience. A combination of all three is what makes our product retention strategy go well, and is the reason we are able to still grow much faster and in volumes in terms of new users.
On that note, Piyush, I will wish you exactly that. Further success, larger volumes, growing volumes of users, and thank you so much for sharing what has allowed you to take the big leap.
No, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. Very rarely we are able to go so much into the user experience and so much behind metrics like retention, right? And I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for bringing those questions.
And this has been The Big Leap. For our audience, we also publish this video as a podcast, which is easy for you to consume on the go, on the train, on the plane, wherever you may be. And if you're listening to the audio version, you can also see the video. Just search for The Big Leap on YouTube. This show is all about shining a light on amazing marketers who took the big leap to achieve growth through retention. So if you have a story to tell, hook up with me on LinkedIn and we may get you set up with a show of your own. Until then, this is Peggy Anne Salz for CleverTap and The Big Leap.